Some say we have lost our minds. But we are the last awakening warriors. I am your host, Joshua David. And I am here with Johnny Smooth Jazz Walker.
How you doing?
I'm doing good, Johnny.
That's real good.
And welcome to the show, people.
So should we talk like this, like
I think we
the
should do
whole
every
time?
show just like this.
Breaking down the truth?
And we should only talk in questions.
So how's your day been?
Well, it's about as good as it's always been there, Johnny.
That wasn't a question.
Yeah, it was.
Well, it's always about as good, whatever you said.
Yep.
That was an answer to a question.
That was a question
anyway,
to your answer.
We playing Jeopardy? All right, Shabbat. Let's go. What's on the agenda, bro? Yeah.
Today we're going to be talking about fear and loathing.
In Las Vegas.
And it does not have to be in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Usually it's in the church.
That's kind of the point where
99.9% of the time, fear and loathing is in the church.
Well, it's taught there. Well, how could you, what? It's taught in church. How could you say that, Johnny?
They're scared of everything.
Yep.
They're scared of the Antichrist coming back. They want to escape this place, so they made up stuff about a rapture that's never going to happen.
Yep. And you're scared of Yahweh judging you and punishing you.
You're scared of your kids. You're scared your kids are going to go to hell because they're not following what you believe.
Yep.
Fear, fear, fear. And all that is of who? One person.
The devil.
Yep. They rule. It literally rules their life.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And we were in the church narrative, so we understand this on a personal level.
Yeah.
So it's not just us bashing the church or something.
Bro.
We lived it.
I didn't even want to go out of my house. It was so bad. I didn't want to go out of my house. I didn't want to be around people. I didn't want to be in cars, planes, trains, automobiles. It didn't matter.
Yep.
It ruled my life.
Afraid to breathe.
Right?
You know.
Didn't want to get germs when I started working like fast food, man.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, I was number one, man. I would. It made me OCD. It made me OCD watching videos of different things that you had to watch to get your food handling license.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty disturbing watching all this stuff, and now we have the coronavirus.
The coronavirus.
The new destruction of mankind has appeared. Like all the other times. I do have some things to say on that.
I don't know if I'm going to say them in this video. I don't know.
Well, if they fit, they fit. I mean, we're talking about fear, and this is it's really just another tool for their fear, right? The systems of this world want you to fear.
The people of this world, they write in dark sentences.
Mm-hmm.
And if you actually know what that means, it comes from secret societies. And this is where we just lost half the people watching this already. These people talk in dark sentences, and Daniel talks about the one that would come would understand these dark sentences.
Mm-hmm.
And the reality is that person's already come, and you can already know what these dark sentences are. You just got to have a keen eye to what they're talking about.
And people have taught how to do this. I mean, you had like Aleister
Crowley
that
was the main guy in this generation that was teaching all this stuff, especially here in the States.
Wrote the Satanic Bible. Yeah.
So, well, let's just put it this way. You can go on the back of a Lysol can, and it will say human coronavirus. Okay.
That's one of the things that kills. Yeah.
Yep. And we've had the can that's in our guardhouse for over a year. Over a year. So this has at least been known about over a year ago. This is not something new. There's actually patents for this stuff too. They have patents. They know what this is. This is not something that they don't understand what it is and what it does. They know.
So guaranteed they have a cure for it.
So they call it and when they started rolling this out, they called it the coronavirus. And that the place that it was from was called Wuhan. Okay? Wuhan. Now, if you're listening out there, write this down. WUHAN. Okay?
Wuhan. Yep.
Wuhan coronavirus. Okay? Literally, Wuhan is the word human. And this is where we get the dark sentences from. You have the W that's actually an upside down M, and then you have the HU, and then the W, and then the A, and then the N. Human coronavirus, just like on the back of your Lysol can that you have at your house.
Yep.
This is called a dark sentence. They do this because they believe you're stupid. And they laugh about it. And these are the globalists. These are the elites. And we usually don't talk about this stuff, but the reason we are is because so many people, so many Christians are fearing for their life over this nonsense. Nonsense. Because when you're in the kingdom, it doesn't matter.
No.
Nothing in this life matters. Your own life does not matter because it's not life. This is death that we're living.
And the flesh counts for nothing. So
exactly.
Doesn't matter.
Now, when you're in the kingdom, you can make the best of this thing you want. Literally. Because it no longer affects what you do. You live every day as though it's your last. Living without excuses, without fear, just going out and doing what you've been chosen to do in this life. And that's to live it abundantly.
Yeah, that's for the spirit and the kingdom, and that's for this place too.
Until it's time to go home. And then it's even going to be more abundant.
Yeah. Me and Josh talk about how fear is not anything that controls now. It's to come to grips with the enormity of the freedom that you have. What do you do with it now? You know?
Whatever you want.
Because it's literally anything you want. So when the sky's the limit, what do you want?
Exactly.
That's been the biggest conversation we've been having.
Yeah. What do we want to do?
There's no fear involved anymore. It's just like we've never had this much freedom.
Yeah, it's the decision making of going after the things in life that we want to go after. You're supposed to actually experience this life.
Yep. Well, dude, it's interesting, coming into freedom at the age we're at. So we've been under control of all the systems of this world for so long and kept in fear, right? Kept under control, that once you receive the freedom and you have the realization of what that means, it's a different world. It's a really different world. And how do you approach it now?
Exactly. And that's what we're learning now, right? We're learning how to adjust and map out the things that we do want to do from a different perspective that we've never been in before. Yeah.
Yep. It's very interesting feeling and coming at it with this new vision, a new perception, not being held down by anything.
Yeah.
Oh, you have a physical ailment. Nope. That doesn't have to stop me.
Right.
You got this here or that there. Nope. And then that to stop me. And even the things that we are caught up with like, I was talking to Josh about how I have a lady from the government coming in to talk to me tomorrow because of insurance and different things like that.
Right.
I don't want to talk to her. Even those little bitty bits of stuff you got to do once a year, fill out your paperwork. Everybody has to do that, even if you're working for your insurance purposes or this or that. Just the simple paperwork once a year. I don't want to be controlled by anything. It annoys me now.
Yeah.
When it used to be just a thing, now it's an annoyance.
Yeah, I agree.
Encroaching on my freedom whatsoever without my invitation, I don't want it.
Right.
I don't want it. So it's interesting, but it's back to the fear part. It's that, and even the loathing, like we have in the title, which is like kind of like hatred.
It's hatred, yeah. I looked it up.
Yeah.
It's hatred.
Yeah. So fear and loathing work together. I know that, and shame, they all kind of work together.
Shame, guilt, condemnation, everything. Yeah.
All of it plays together, and it is
anxiety, depression, all of it.
Yeah,
it all comes from fear.
It's the biggest tool the church has. We talk about the fear, guilt, and control, shame matrix.
Yep.
Right. This is what the church uses to control you and keep you in the doors, keep you coming back through the doors and putting your money in. And committing your alliance to, this church or this religion or this doctrine. And they have to keep you under control or they'll lose all that.
Yeah, they'll
have no church, they'll have no position.
They can't live the abundant life that the pastor's living if you're not paying your tithes to him.
Yep.
No wonder he wants you to. That's all they talk about half the time in the church anymore is paying tithes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, my dad came back from a Bible study just Wednesday, and that was one of the topics at the Bible study was tithes.
Imagine that.
Yeah, and he come back, what? Because of financial issues, he hadn't been able to pay, not just to air his laundry, but for the simple fact is he came back ashamed, depressed,
because he
beaten down,
and that's not the Father. That is not the Father at all.
No, not any part of that. If you go to church and you come back defeated and guilty and shameful of yourself, there's no love in that.
None
at all. Yeah. So, but it's part of what they have to have. They have to use it. That's their control mechanism.
Yeah.
So
step on the line, you're going to hell.
Yep. Stub your toe on a pebble.
Don't believe exactly how this church believes. You're going to hell.
Watch a Super Bowl halftime show and you're going to hell. I'm sorry, I had to.
Let's get into it. Let me tell you. Look, man, this is one of the few times openly I've said this, and I've said this online. I've said this on Facebook, and I'm saying it here.
Yep.
We have 2 Latina women of Spanish descent.
Yep.
And men who were on stage singing in Spanish. And I think all of this has to do with racism. I really do.
It very well could be.
Because no one gave a crap the last 10 years when they were doing this stuff. No one cared.
Nope. Like literally, my family watches Dancing with the Stars. I know Brother Jeremy, he's been losing his mind over this dude, with this lawsuit. And he's like, I cannot believe somebody's this ignorant. And even like his mother-in-law, she watches Dancing with the Stars. Everybody agrees there's worse stuff on Dancing with the Stars.
There's worse stuff on just any TV show you watch.
Yep.
Let me tell you. Go watch 10 and Two-Man Taylor. What was the name of the show? Home Improvement.
What was it?
Go watch Home Improvement. Almost every episode, there's a derogatory joke about, let's just put it out there, either sex or having sex or about somebody's rear end or private parts in every episode. Every episode.
Yep. And it's supposed to be an innocent family show.
Right? And I never saw any of this stuff when I was younger, but we've been watching them here lately. Dad has the last couple of years, and I'm like, I can't even watch this show anymore. Because I'm sitting here hearing Tim say something to his wife or somebody else saying something to somebody, and I'm like, this is inappropriate for a family show.
Right. Well, if you're offended,
it's less inappropriate than what these women were doing in the halftime show.
If you're offended at stuff like that, don't go to a high school. You know, don't go out, don't go into a store, don't go to Walmart.
The halftime show was less inappropriate. That's what I meant.
Yeah. Yeah. But literally, and the fact that this person, now here's the deal, people, in case you don't know. The guy is suing the NFL because of the halftime show for like $800 and some trillion. That's with a T. With a T. That's an unheard of. It's ridiculous. Okay, that number is ridiculous because this whole situation is ridiculous. When the guy had a remote with a power button on it, he could change a channel. He sat there and watched it.
Yeah.
But we always have to blame somebody, right?
Yeah, and they're saying he's a Christian or something?
Yeah, he's a Christian, and he said this halftime show put him in danger of hellfire.
And it's like I said, John said, you are drawn away by your own lust. So that was already inside of him. If it was drawing him away, and then the next question you got to ask yourself is, why are the other Christians in this world doing that?
Yep.
Why not? Why aren't they doing the same thing this guy's doing?
You know, because technically, what he's doing is standing up for his beliefs and what they perceive the Bible is saying.
Right? They believe,
you're not
even though John says that, they believe that, if you look on a woman, at a woman, that she can cause you to lust. No, it's from you. It's the person.
It's nothing outside of you. Exactly. Just like the Father is inside us and not outside of us. He's not Yahweh.
Exactly.
The same thing as the devil. The devil is part of this soul, your flesh that you have over top of your spirit that surrounds your spirit.
So instead of blaming the person with the issue, like all good Christians, I'm blaming whoever in society for all my problems.
Yep. Well, it's the same way for the spirit. It had to take Jesus to die for your sins.
Because the devil made me
outside.
Do it.
Listen, it was something outside of you that saved you, so obviously it has to be something outside of you that taints you.
That's what they would tell you.
Yeah, which is neither.
You know why?
It's both you.
Because Jesus never sinned, right?
That's what they said.
Yet John said, you're drawn away by your own lust. So if he endured everything that we did and that we went through,
he would have had to lust.
He would have been drawn away by his own lust if he was tempted in every way.
Yep.
The temptation does not come from without. It comes from within.
Mm-hmm. So he experienced the lust
the three
himself.
Temptations of Christ were the temptations he had. He was hungry.
Mm-hmm.
And he denied it, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't outward. It was inward. They don't know. Yeah. They get everything backwards. Why? Because they see everything backwards.
Because they're taught to.
By people who aren't born again.
Mm-hmm.
And never was. Starting with Paul himself.
Yeah. So back to fear and loathing.
Fear and loathing.
And the control that is taught in the church.
In the church.
So you got some scripture, or are we just freestyling?
We just freestyling, dude. I don't have nothing.
All right. We're just freestyling. What's your situation with fear, Josh?
As far as what?
How did it affect you in your life? Fear
I was
or
scared
shame
of everything.
or guilt?
I became scared of everything by 30 years old, just about.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't want to get a disease. I didn't want to be around people to be able to get a disease or get something. Yeah, it ruled my life. I stayed away from everybody in my own like bubble. Yeah.
So there was no abundance of life. It was in a cage.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah. I can relate to that. I know when I first went blind, everything about life. Go ahead.
Never really liked being in cars, so I never got my license.
Mm-hmm.
Just everything. It ruled me. It ruled my life. Everything.
Yep. With me, it was all consuming. And I didn't have the realization of how serious it was. It's something that unless you really are coming into truth, you don't really see it. You know, it's hard to see. You don't think.
I knew it was. I didn't care.
I must have been living in some kind of delusional state.
Yeah, you lived in there a long time.
Yeah, I had a great relationship with a wonderful person in California. I messed it up. I come back to St. Joe, right where I live. Right.
Yeah, your biggest thing is that you were denying that you were fearful.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I never addressed it. I never wanted to look at it. I never seen it for what it was.
Shove that under the rug.
Yep. Because I didn't want to admit to myself that I believed this about myself, that I wasn't good enough.
Mm-hmm.
That this person that I was with would figure out someday that I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. And that carried through it wasn't just relationships. It was job opportunities. It was, I waited a long time before I went back and got my high school diploma. I went to college. It went to everything.
Yeah.
Like you said about driving.
It starts ruining everything in your life.
Yeah. I didn't start driving until I got a really good job and I bought a truck and I was like, heck, I bought it. I'm going to drive it. But it was scary. I was 28. I was 28 before I got my driver's license.
I'm 38 and working on it.
Yeah. Well, then once you get it, it's done, right?
I have no fear.
It's no fear about it now, right? Right. But there's these things that I was so afraid of life that I wouldn't be good enough, that I would fail, that I would look stupid, all this loathing, self-loathing, right? This hate for myself and the fear that was involved and the shame that was involved.
Right.
And all that, I picked it all up. Why? I grew up in church. Oh, well, John, that's not why you had all that. You tell me why else. I literally, when I say I grew up at church, I lived at church.
Well,
I grew up at church almost every day.
I'm not going to say that came from the church, but the church did facilitate that atmosphere.
Well, yeah. Okay. So I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
All that stuff, just the same as lust. The lust comes from within you, right?
Exactly.
All this stuff comes from the enemy within me, right? That there is this flesh, this soul.
It comes from the soul, yeah.
Sure. But it was
and for those who don't know, the soul is all the negative emotions that you deal with.
Yeah. The ego, the appetite, your fleshly will.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And it was given
carnality
to you
is what the church calls it, but it's your soul. If you actually go in the Bible and look, it's your soul.
Yeah, and it comes from the breath of life that Yahweh gave you.
Yahweh gave you in the garden. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that stuff came from there, but it definitely wasn't broken by anything I learned at church.
No, they facilitate that whole thing. Mm-hmm. You know, the whole fire and brimstone preaching, especially, that your father used to preach all the time.
I heard it at school.
Right.
School.
Miss Garlock.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. I get it, dude. Yeah.
All year. Mm-hmm. So you're groomed.
You're constantly in that, man. That It's like being in the mud, right? You're a pig and you're in the mud, and you're constantly in that mud. You're constantly facing that same thing, over and over and over and over again, until you get up out of the mud and go wash yourself off, man. You're gonna keep living in that same cycle because it's all you see, right? You don't see another way. You don't see a way out of the mud, right?
Right.
And the church ain't going to tell you that you're going to get out the mud. They're going to tell you you're going to have to suffer in the mud.
No, the world's getting way worse. It's only going to get worse. It's never going to get better. It's going to get worse and worse and worse.
And then when they say stuff like that,
snatches you out.
You kind of look at yourself and you're like, then why the hell am I even trying?
Right.
Why are we going through this dog and pony show?
How many times people had a miserable life, came to church because they need help. They want a better life. They want to be happier. And then there they teach you, oh, the world's just going to get worse.
Yeah.
But guess what?
We're not going to have nothing until Jesus comes back, and then he sets up his kingdom.
Yeah. It's going to get worse and worse, but we got a golden ticket for you.
Right.
You say this incantation at this altar.
Yeah, sacrifice yourself.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And when it's time, whenever, he'll come back and snatch us all away, and we won't have to worry about this old world no more. Heck with all the people that don't make it.
So, then they make up, in the 1600s, the Jesuits, they make up, there's going to be a rapture, so before it gets really, really bad, he's going to take you out of here.
Yep.
This was never preached by anyone before the Jesuits made it up in the 1600s. The rapture. Never preached. Ever.
Those are facts. Look them up. Look them up.
But everybody acts like, oh, no, this is the true gospel from 2,000 years ago. No, it's not. Especially when pagans are the one that gave you and deciphered the Bible for you.
Yep.
It's crazy.
It is crazy. But it all plays the part. We all are going through this life. We all have these issues that we go through to get us to where we can find truth. Like you said, if all you ever seen was mud, right, and all you ever knew was being in the mud, it's not until you see something different that you can know that there is something different, right?
Right. But
that's why we're doing it.
And also, as long as you're looking outside of yourself, all you're going to see is the mud.
Yep.
You're not going to see the light and love inside of yourself
that if you're constantly,
that you're constantly rolling around in what the church calls the mud.
Yep. And to realize the kingdom within you, where you need to be, which is where who you actually are, can't be touched by the mud, can't be touched by sin, can't be touched by fear, guilt, shame.
None of those things are of it.
No, because it has no sin. When Jesus said, we talk about Jesus not being sinful, his spirit wasn't sinful. Just like your spirit is not sinful. Me and Josh's spirit is not sinful. Our spirit has never sinned.
Not once.
If we do something wrong, if we get out of character and get upset with somebody and we say something out of love, that wasn't even our spirit. It means we came out of the kingdom and was in this flesh.
The only sin, according to, I would say Jesus, is you refusing the truth.
Yep. Yeah, realizing what the truth is.
And that's what he told the Pharisees. He said, you had never had sin until you denied what I've been telling you, the truth.
Yeah.
When you denied these things that I've been teaching and saying,
which were life. This was life.
Then you've sinned.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're denying the only thing that can save you.
Yeah.
Yep. I just said
the
that.
Love of
Yep. Jesus can't save you. Sorry. Can't happen.
Yep.
Flesh counts for nothing. So it dying on the cross meant nothing.
Yep.
The only thing that can save you is what was speaking from within him. The love that was in him.
The same love that's in you. Yep.
Which he called his Father.
Yep. And your love, your Father, can save you.
Can save you. And by save, we mean preserve, not the going down to an altar and sacrificing yourself.
No, there's no sacrifice involved. Jesus even said his Father didn't want sacrifice, so why would you be giving yourself as a living sacrifice when he don't want a sacrifice?
I desire mercy, not sacrifice. So Paul tells you, hey, go down there to the altar and sacrifice yourself. Be a daily sacrifice. You should go do that.
Yeah.
No. Give mercy, and you'll have mercy. Love, and you'll have love.
Forgive, you'll have forgiveness.
Yep. Imagine that. You reap what you sow in this life.
Yep.
Man, the church likes to say that, but they never listen to those words.
No, and how many people have lived an entire life of sowing like financially into the church? Every week, every month, every year, for decades. And have been in poverty the whole time.
Because it's not about physical works, people.
No, it's not.
The works are spiritual. Forgiveness. Mercy. The things we just said. Those are the works. It's not physical actions.
Now, can things end up going your way because of what you do? Because you make it happen? Is this life going to be more abundant?
Well, the life is going to be more abundant because you're giving people mercy and grace. And
it's going to come back.
And it comes back to you.
Oh, you guys sound like you're talking about like fate and what is it that everybody talks about? Karma. Oh, you guys are talking karma stuff.
No, because when you sow seeds, you can get 3 and 4 and 500 fold. 60, 90, 100.
But there is some truth in that, right? You sow good, good comes back. You sow evil, evil will come back to you.
Let's see. Judge, and you'll be judged. What does that sound like to you?
That sounds like some bad karma.
Right?
I'm just saying that because people are so scared of looking outside the church box.
Right, because they're scared that they're going to go to hell. They're going to do something wrong, and I'm going to hell.
Yep. They're like, oh, you read something other than the King James Version of the Bible?
You're going to hell.
Yeah.
Anything that puts fear in you, guess what? Is of the devil. So if you're scared to step out and do something because you think it's going to cause you to go to hell, that's of the devil already.
Listen,
did Paul not say there is nothing evil in of itself? Period.
That's what you believe about it.
Exactly.
If you decide it's evil, it's evil.
And you better not do it.
Yep. Because you don't want it. Don't be giving power to things that have no power. I grew up not being able to go to a movie theater because there was sin in there. I grew up not being able to watch a scary movie at home because you're going to let demons in the house and they're going to possess you. This is literal talk, people. This is the stuff I grew up with. And it wasn't just my household. Trust me on that. That's a widespread teaching of the church. Can't watch scary movies because you'll let demons in your house. It's a movie.
Yeah, but they got that cross and that picture of Jesus on the wall, don't they?
Yeah, a murder weapon with a dead guy hanging on it.
Those idols they worship.
Yep.
Those aren't bringing demons in the house, but that scary movie will.
Right. Right.
Have no graven images, but they got the picture of Jesus everywhere.
Listen, you think about a child. This just hit me real quick. You think about a child that's in innocence, right? And they don't know about religion or Christianity. They don't know what Jesus is, right? It's just a little child, but they know what it looks like to have somebody bleeding. They know how scary it would be to see a dead guy. And imagine one's hanging on their cross.
Yeah, that's
Could you imagine when they first tell a child, "Oh, that's Jesus," and he got nailed on that wood, and and that's all his blood coming out everywhere, and that's where
and
he was
it's your
stabbed in the
fault.
side and all this stuff.
It's your
and it's
fault.
your fault.
You killed him.
He died for you. He died for your sins because you're such a horrible little heathen.
It's kind of crazy that coming
the
into
fear and
this,
guilt starts then. The fear and guilt starts way back there.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that Kelly said the same thing I've been saying for a while now. I'm almost to the point I believe it's child abuse to teach them that nonsense. To teach your kid that stuff is child abuse because you're putting fear into them.
Yep. I've heard it mentioned in, with the government and stuff like that, talking about should children see pictures of Jesus' death? I remember the Passion of the Christ came out, a lot of child welfare groups and stuff were talking about, I don't think this is for child appropriate, and stuff like that. And I had no problem with it at the time. I was in the narrative, of course. I had no problem with it. Would I let him now? I don't think a kid should see that kind of death. Not a young kid. Come on. This is...
My thing isn't about the death. It's about them telling them and putting the fear in them and telling them that it's their fault that happened.
Oh, all of it. Yeah, that included. Absolutely. Because that's
kids can handle death a lot better than we can if it's just about death, because they're in the kingdom. Mm-hmm. They might have questions about it or whatever, but it's not it's not like it is when you're not in the kingdom, right?
Yeah.
But putting that fear on them, making them believe, like I said that one time when I got real heated, man, because we've been telling our kids that they're the monsters and that Jesus died because of them. That's nonsense.
Yeah.
And we've all done it. That's the whole thing. I'm not excluding myself from this.
No, not at all. I lived that narrative forever and talked about that all. I can't even tell you how many kids I dealt with. When we were running the youth group.
And this is why some people, I'm going to tell you right now, this is why some people run from the kingdom. Because you're going to have to face these things to get there. You're going to have to face the things that you did that you had no business doing and come to terms with it and forgive yourself for doing those things.
Absolutely.
This is why it's called the narrow road. This is why it's called, the narrow gate, right? This is why you had to humble yourself.
Yeah.
To go in to the eye of the needle. This is not an easy thing to do.
No, you got to admit that you were fooled, that you
were lied to, that you were manipulated,
and that you participated,
and that you participated in doing it.
Yep.
And on even some level, let's even be even more honest. And even on some level, you wanted to do it.
Sure.
Because your soul didn't want to die either.
No. I loved playing the part. I loved when I got used. We're being honest.
Yeah.
I loved when Yahweh used me. When I got to feel like he used me, that I played a part.
Let me tell you, man. Hearing his voice, there was years not following what he wanted me to do. I longed to hear his voice. And like I said, I've heard it audibly, out loud, in front of me, like you're listening to me right now. If you're in a car or in speakers or, wherever you're listening. And he's talked to me. He's talked to my heart. He's talked to my mind. So, yeah. There was days I would long to go and walk with him in the cool of the day.
Dude, there's somebody in my life right now that longs to be used. This person is so distraught that the thing that Yahweh called him to do, he hasn't done hardly in 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
As somebody that's used to preaching their whole life, they're in their 70s. They've preached their whole life. And they are distraught, in despair, depressed, down on themselves, questioning everything about themselves and not him, not Yahweh.
Not Yahweh. And see,
it's never his fault.
And that's when the last couple years here, the thing that happened with one particular person, what happened? We both, because of that incident and a couple of the other incidences happened, we both started questioning things.
Mm-hmm.
And questioning who was saying what to who, right? We both did.
Yeah.
And I don't want to put that person on blast, but there were some things that I don't know if they should have happened, because now I don't believe they should have happened, but whatever. Yeah. But because of the situations that did happen with this other person and myself, and even some things that happened with me and you. What was it? January, right? It was January. Was it 2018? Or was it 2019? About the whole seeing thing.
Yeah, 18, I believe.
Was that a year before we died? Or 4 months?
It was probably 19. Yeah, it was last year.
Yeah, it was 4 or 5 months before we died.
Yep.
Or a few months before we died. No, it was the year before. It was the year before because we died in March. Yeah, it was a year later. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then you said, "Oh, now I get it. Now it's March and I can see." Yeah.
Yep.
But we had a thing where I had told John something that I was supposed to say to him, and there was a dispute over something I said, and I gave John my confirmation for what I was telling him.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't supposed to say my confirmation, because when I said my confirmation, it made me sound like I said something I didn't. Or at least from my point of view, I didn't say that. But you took it as though I was saying that.
Yeah.
That you were going to be able to see in March.
Mm-hmm.
Like physically see. 2018 March. And in February, I was like, no, that's not what I said. I was like, I was telling you the confirmation I had, the dream of the confirmation I had about the first part of that, what I told you.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a discrepancy between me and him. And there was some friction there for a couple months about the whole thing. Because I was like, dude, I didn't lie to you. And you're like, dude, no, you lied to me. And I'm like, no, I didn't. But that was just part of the process of us coming to terms and realizing what was really going on.
Right.
And if we never had those things that didn't happen the way either I said them or you believed them, we would have never questioned anything. Ever.
Yep.
We would have still been in the narrative going down the road.
Sure.
Paid with good intentions.
Right. Might not even be talking.
No, hold up.
Who knows?
Right. Now, in March, he did see. It did happen. Briefly, but he did. Because I said it.
Yep.
It did happen.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a full restoration, but it did happen.
Yep.
So it made me not a liar, but even in that, we still question what the hell went on, because it shouldn't have went that way to begin with, right? And both of us realized that. Then a year later, what happens?
We woke up and we woke up. See.
And John can see.
Yeah.
More than he's ever been able to see.
I see clearly.
Right?
Yeah. It's crazy that I see clearly now the rain is gone. There's no obstacles in my way.
No obstacles in your way. None.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's just how much truth is in songs and stuff. Even it's funny, but go ahead.
No, but like if we never started questioning some of the things that were happening, we would have never got here, because there would have been no reason to question.
And we were out of the church narrative. We wasn't getting pummeled with the message every week.
Yeah,
a couple times a week.
We had actually been out of it for almost 2 years at that point. No, wait, a year and a half.
Yeah. Well, I had been back in for a little bit, but I come back out, and because I just couldn't take it. Nothing was right. All I heard was hypocrisy and backbiting and talking about each other and trying to jockey for position, and it was just disgusting to me.
And I just want people to know too, if you're listening to this, we do not hate the people in the church.
No,
we're for them.
Love them.
We're for them. But
even
the people that are
using we're for all of them.
But the people that are using them, and it might not even be your pastor necessarily using you, as far as
he might be totally full of
the narrative that you've been told is using you, and it's not for good works. It's not.
No.
The judgment that comes out of the church and all that stuff, man, are not the works of the Father, not His works.
There's no love in it. It's actually sad. You see it happening and stuff. And we have loved ones in the church that are solidly planted in the narrative.
Yeah.
There's people that there's family members he don't get to talk with now because they're just going to argue with him.
I just don't put myself in that position because I'm not going to argue.
Yeah. And trust me, I've tried way more times than I was supposed to even do with certain people, right?
Yeah.
And it never went right. I mean, I can't say never. There's a couple times where a couple moments of understanding I felt happen. But then immediately the person goes and runs and picks their Bible up, or goes and runs and turns on.
Yeah, they got to rebuild the temple.
Christian TV, right? Because something started getting through.
Yeah.
And the majority, like 99.9% of the time, it was a vile anger that came from the people, right? And we see this every time. Now, we're not saying that if you are listening and you're in truth and you're in the kingdom, that you can't talk to a Christian, because there'll be times when you're supposed to do it, but you got to be very selected. Yeah, they'll come to you. There's no chasing people down in this. There's no dragging people in like they teach in the church. I don't care if you had to beat them over the head with the Bible and drag them in here.
Let's put it this way so they understand. The light in you will draw people to you that you're supposed to talk to. Plain and simple.
Absolutely.
You don't have to go out and be a fisher of men. They will come to you because of your light.
Yep. They'll be sitting there in the water waiting when you put your net in. They're right there.
Yep.
They're right there. So, and literally, I don't leave my apartment. People come to my apartment.
Right?
All the time. I had a niece that brought a couple young ladies to my house to talk to me. Specifically to talk to me. Why? Uncle John talks about love.
Yep.
I know Uncle John will be able to say something to this girl that's wanting to kill herself. That parents are mad at her because she's came out of the closet as being gay. I can't let them talk to. Listen, they knew Christians too. My niece knows plenty of Christians she could have took them to talk to them. But who she come to? The one talking about love. Why? Because the spirit in her knew that's what that young girl needed.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Didn't need condemnation, didn't need judgment.
No.
That person needed love.
And listen, that their fear, that young girl goes to a church, to a pastor or another Christian, she's going to feel worse for doing it. She'll feel worse about herself. She's already getting beat by her mom, disowned by her dad.
Right.
Fully believes she's just being who she is, right? Thinking this is a good thing. This is going to make me be happier in my life. Her family turns on her. Now you're going to take her to Christians? to where they're going to judge you. And now, not only do you have a sucky life here where your family turned on you, but if you don't change who you really are, now you're going to go to hell too.
Right.
Well, great. Thank you. And why is suicide so high? Why is suicide so high? I just might as well get over it. Get over with it now.
Right. There's no love here, so why even be here, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's
I
what
can't
they're
get it
thinking.
from my family, and I've been told by everybody in the world that, well, there's love in church, but then what did I get? So what's the point? Now I've tried everything.
Right. What can I do now, right?
Might as well get it over with now. You can't be mad at somebody like that to commit suicide. You can't be mad at them. They were pushed to their limit. It's sad.
It is.
Because when knowing that the Christ Spirit was saying to love and only love.
And then you'll get you'll get that church answer. Well, God knew in his foresight they were going to go to hell anyway.
Yep. That was
whatever.
The stupidest answer I've ever heard from a preacher ever. And it was right here in my own living room. It's disgusting.
It's like, whatever.
Anyway. And if you're listening, I don't care. That was a dumb statement. And to even believe that is.
Oh, that's why I told him at the end there. I was like, well, we'll stand on that position too then. Yep. Well, God knew in your foresight you wasn't never going to enter the kingdom, so well, where's that leave you?
That's why you're not listening to anything we say. Okay.
Right? Right?
Yep.
So dumb.
But we still love him.
So yeah, I had a woman. She ordered a pizza at work. I work at the guardhouse that's out front by itself. She came up to the guardhouse and wanted to know where she could wait for the pizza because she told him to come to the guardhouse. I was like, well, you can either go over there on those steps over there, or you can come in here and chill with me until the pizza gets here. It don't matter to me. It's up to you. You can do what you want, right? She said, I'll come in. I was like, okay. Man, as soon as she shut the door, boom. It was all over the place.
Yeah.
I was saying stuff, man, and she was like, man, you can't tell this to everybody. I was like, no, just the people I'm supposed to.
Yeah.
The look on her face was priceless.
Right?
I was like, no, I can't say a lot of this stuff to, like, if a preacher came up here. I can't say this stuff.
No.
I was like,
they'll lose their mind.
I was like, they'll lose their mind.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I don't say this to everybody. I only say this stuff to the people I'm supposed to say these things to.
Yep.
And we had to talk for about a half hour. And then the next day when she was coming into work, she stopped by the guardhouse and said, man, I was thinking about all the stuff you were saying last night.
Yep.
I was thinking about you
all
and
night
talking
about you.
It. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's crazy is that it takes one moment like that, and you can fundamentally change someone's whole perspective on life.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the power of love in us, right?
Yeah.
That when they come to you, which it happens all the time, trust me, there's always situations, people coming up to you and talking and stuff, and the chances show themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And all it is just speaking the word, right? Speaking truth. I mean, saying, quoting by King James verses at them. I'm saying speaking life.
Yeah, I didn't hardly use any verses in the Bible when I was talking to her.
No.
I was telling her truth.
Yep. And you don't have to. You don't have to know King James Bible. You could speak a ton of truth and never quote a scripture at all.
Yeah.
Not even talk about religion or anything, Jesus or nothing.
Yeah.
You could literally, there's truth. Like when we say we find truth in movies and music and all this stuff, there's truth everywhere. That song I was just quoting earlier, there's truth in that. That wasn't about Jesus.
Nope.
That was about the clearing of all the darkness and stuff like that once you come into the kingdom and you can see clearly. So it's about the Christ Spirit, right? It's about the Father in love with you.
But what'd you say that song was? I can see clearly now. Yahweh's reign is gone. I mean,
Yahweh's reign is gone. Yeah, his reign, right? Not RAIN. He's not reigning over me no more. That's crazy. I remember you said that. I remember a picture book when I was a kid, and I used to check it out of the library all the time. And it was like different sentences and words and stuff. And then it showed it like one said, the reign of the king.
Mm-hmm.
But then it had like this big king, like laying horizontal, above the city, and there was pouring rain down on him. He was like a giant cloud. But he was the king, raining. And so it's like that. So yeah, I don't know why that just popped in my head when you said.
Yeah, rappers talk about that king a lot, the rainmaker.
Yeah. So has anybody in chat got a question? Go ahead and put it in here. And then here in a second before we close, if there's any comments or questions, we'll go ahead and address that.
Yeah. What's something else I was going to say? You had to go on your tangent again, but
I remember the book.
No, if people want to find out what we're talking about the difference between being saved by the churches, the way they believe, and being born again, what Jesus said, we have a playlist on our channel that you can go to, and I think it's called Being Saved or something like that. I have to go over there and look real quick. Let's see here.
We got playlists, so professional.
Oh, yeah. That's what we do.
While Josh is looking that up, make sure to leave your comments after the video also. We love to see the comments. If you have any questions, we love to address those. Maybe one of your comments will be a topic of another video. Also, you can email us at lastawakeningwarriors@gmail.com. Yeah. And soon to come, social media.
Yeah, we got somebody working on some social media stuff hopefully soon.
Yeah.
It's called How to Save a Life.
How to Save a Life.
There's 4 videos right there, and they will tell you how to enter the kingdom and what it means to be born again. And it's from a biblical perspective on what Jesus actually said.
Right.
Versus what the church says about being saved.
Nice copyright strike on that one.
Yeah, when in reality it's about being preserved.
Yep.
You can't save this physical life.
No, it's not redeemable.
Is appointed man to die once.
Yep.
Okay, we have no questions in the chat, so are you ready to?
Pretty late.
Are you ready to sign off?
Wrap it up. Let's wrap it up.
Okay. Sounds like a plan,
Johnny.
Well, we thank you for coming out tonight here on the Last Awakenings podcast. And we'll see you next time. I am your host, Joshua David. I am here with Johnny, the Jazzman Walker. and we'll see you real soon.